Hey YouTube, it's Marita and welcome to another edition of the Nurse Lounge. Today we're going to talk about how I deal with criticism as a nurse. You want to see how I do it? Stay tuned. Where my girls at? It's going down, down. Where my girls at? It's going down. All right, so we're going to jump right on in. My name is Dr. Marita P. I'm a registered nurse. I have been a nurse for almost 16 years now. My specialty is OB/GYN, well baby nursery. I am a nurse educator. I've done that for about 15 years now. And I am a nurse mentor, and I am hopefully to be a nurse consultant sometime soon. Anyway, what this video is about is specifically how I deal with criticism as a nurse. So I'm doing this video because of the fact that I find that a lot of nurses, new nurses especially my students, don't do well with criticism. They think for whatever reason that everything they do is going to be good, and if you say something negative to them, they're bent out of shape and things like that. Well, I'm here to tell you, you're in the wrong profession if you don't think you'll be criticized as a nurse. Now, when it comes to being criticized, what is the person really trying to tell you? And how are they telling you? Is the person being mean to you when they say it? Are they condescending? Do they talk down to you when they say it? That could be an issue. That would be an issue if they did that to me. So I can understand when someone is saying things that they shouldn't be saying, or maybe they should be saying, but they're saying it in a tone or demeanor that is inappropriate for the situation. One thing I always say, that when you criticize in private. When you congratulate in public. So when you criticize someone, you take them to the side, to a private room, to the clean utility, to somewhere, and you have a conversation about whatever the infraction happens to be. And then if it's something that's congratulatory, then you do that in front of everybody. That's what's being professional. You need to make sure that you criticize in private, you congratulate in public. Now, I have had plenty of nurse managers come to me and try to say something crazy in front of the whole nursing station. And I'll look at them like, okay, so we gonna do this here? So if you wanna, and I'm not advising you to do what I do, because sometimes I am not the best example. I will say that I am a Taurus to the T, and I am sweet as can be until you take me there. So I'm not a tit for tat kind of person, but if you're going to be unprofessional in a supposedly professional environment, I will call you out on it. So I've had managers who have had to call out and say, okay, we're not doing this right here. So if you have something that you need to say to me, we will say it behind closed doors, because that's how you do things professionally. And when I do that, then of course they're offended by it. But the thing is, you were wrong to begin with. So again, I'm not recommending you do that. But I'm also not recommending that you go to a corner and cry about it either. I'm recommending that you professionally, talk to whoever it is about it and get it rectified. Now, again, back to the criticism. If they are showing you a certain technique of how to do things, or they're telling you that you need to be more mindful of your time management, if they're telling you that, you need to do whatever you need to do to make your job better, and it's coming from a reliable source, then do it. Do it. Simply just own it. If you've messed up, own it. Accountability is so important to me as a nurse. If I've done something wrong, I have no problem owning it and saying, I messed up on that situation. That was me. I did that. I'm sorry. So that we can move on. Because then we end up, the more that we dwell on something, the more you're going to try to draw attention to it. So in order for us to move on, definitely own up to it and simply say, you know what, I made a mistake when I did that, or I wasn't thinking clearly. I've learned from that and I will do better in the future. But definitely when it comes to criticism, please, if it's coming from a reliable source, please be willing to accept criticism. You're going to get it from doctors, from fellow nurses, from management, and from your patients, and from the patients' families. Okay, you're going to get it all the way around. So you might as well, and from from nurses with the previous shift or the shift after you. Well, why come you didn't do this? Why come you didn't do that? I've been, I won't say reprimanded for it, but I have been like, a nurse will say, well, you didn't give your Tdap shot today. I'm like, no, I called her up a response today on a patient. Tdap was the furthest thing on my mind at that point in time, to worry about giving Tdap to another patient who was not going home today when I had a rapid response situation I had to do. So, and it's things like that that I may slack and not do something on, or I mean, the patient's still gonna be here. So a Tdap is not gonna harm them to get the very next day or to get night shift. That's what you're here for. And I tell people, what I don't get done in 12 hours, that's why there's a next shift. We continue that care, right? Now, I'm not one to sit on my tail all day and not work. They know that about me. I'm going to work. I'm going to do everything that I said I was going to do. But my shots, Tdaps and things like that are my last thing on my list to do. And that's a really big thing at our hospital, to give, the flu and the Tdap and the MMRs that we typically give for our patients when flu season's in season. But it's just not a priority for me. It's just not. So if that's a priority for you to get checked off on your list, then by means, go ahead and do it. But for me, it's not. So how do I deal with it when someone comes to me with some negativity or not negativity, criticism? Again, if I did it, I own it and we move forward. If it's something that I can improve upon, and sometimes I actually put this in my evaluations that I need to improve on this, and this, and I can, admit that. But if it's nothing that, if it's nothing that I'm really worried about, like those Tdap shots, I just let it slide. I'm like, I hear you, but keep in mind, I had a rep response today. Keep in mind, I had 3-4 fresh C-sections that I had to get up. Keep in mind that I had this, that, and the other. So I'm not one to be defensive if I am wrong. But when I'm right, or you didn't work the shift with me, you didn't know what I had, or I had a nurse who I was working with today who was seemed like she had orientation 30 years later because she can't figure out how to do things, and I'm helping her get her stuff done while I'm doing my stuff, then I ain't really trying to hear it. So tips for you: do your work. Another tip: if it's criticism and it's coming from a reliable source, definitely go ahead and accept that criticism and look for ways to improve how you work and what you do. A lot of times it's the attitude that you may have that may be the issue. So they may say, oh, well, she's a great nurse or he's a great nurse, but he or she has a very poor attitude. And when I go to them about something, they don't handle it well, or they get defensive. Do not do that. If you are wrong, admit that you're wrong, figure out a solution to get better at it, and then you move forward. Now, I will say this, as a new nurse especially, or maybe not a new nurse in the sense of like you just graduated new, but maybe you're new to the unit. Maybe you've been a nurse for 10 years, but you are new to this hospital, this floor, whatever. Then you may want to be mindful of you're the new kid on the block, and they're going to find criticism in all you do. Okay. Oh, well, she's nice, but it's something about her I don't like, or something about him I don't like. One thing that I think that, with nurses, male nurses for me are the easiest to work with. Women are the hardest to work with because we're so catty anyway, and we're critical anyway. So with that being said, I find that sometimes it's hard for us to give and accept criticism because of the fact of who we're working with. I have a strong personality. I'm sure that is conveyed through these videos. I have a very strong personality, and I take no issue with that. I'm not changing that. So people have to approach me different ways. And so I find that if you come at me like you did this, and this, you're going to put me on the defensive automatically. If they come at me and say, well, Marita, we see that this is going on. Is there something going on or something we can help you with? I'm like, oh, okay. I take it better that way, which is no different than someone in my mind who's a little bit more timid, or I wouldn't say weak personality, but someone who's just a little bit more, I can't think of a word for that. So what is the opposite of strong personality? I don't want to say weak. Someone who's just a little bit more docile, I guess. You have to approach them delicately too. So again, you have to think about, how am I going to talk to this person about what this issue is? Because if I say it in the wrong way, I'm talking about me specifically, say something to this person in the wrong way, they're going to start crying, or they're going to say, she's such a B, or she's so mean, or she this, that, and the other. No, it's just that you didn't want to receive the information that was given. And maybe it was the tone because you feel like I have a strong personality. Now, I'm saying all this to say, don't get it confused with, don't get strong personality confused with, and criticism confused with someone who is truly trying to teach you what you need to know. I have found time and time again that there's a lot of nursing students who frankly don't want to work. And I mean in nursing school, my students who don't want to work. And then they get upset when I push them to work. I'm like, okay, you paid all this money to get an education. You about to get it with me. So I don't care. And I always say, I don't care if OB is not what you want to do. You will see these OB patients no matter where you go to in nursing. You will see OB patients on med surge. You will see OB patients in the ER. You see them in ICU. You see them in step down. You see them in mental health. You see them typically not hospice, but you see them on home health when their wound opens up and a home health nurse has to come out and clean the wound and do things like that for her. You see OB everywhere. So I always say, take this as an opportunity to learn what we do. So when you do see it again in your prospective specialty, you will know how, like, okay, I remember that from nursing school. So I find that people who don't do well with criticism also don't do well in nursing. So it's either going to make you or it's going to break you. And you have to develop strong skin or thick skin, or develop a backbone, as we say. Be willing to accept criticism, again, if it's favorable. And if it's not favorable, and because I know this question is going to come up, what happens when you are being criticized by say, your preceptor? What happens if you're being criticized by another nurse who always works the same shift as you, who he or she, and it's usually a she, because usually men are not that way, who keeps putting you down, who keeps finding the fault in everything that you do? If you are having those kind of difficulties with that kind of preceptor because he or she is just kind of condescending and being rude to you, then you need to take that up with the nurse manager. Or before you do that, to be honest with you, there's always a chain of command. So you want to try to talk to, if you can, the person that you have the infraction with, the issue with. And if you see that doesn't remedy itself, then you go through the chain of command. If there's a charge nurse and that person's not the charge nurse, then maybe go to him or her and see if that can be fixed. If it can't be, then you go to your nurse manager, and then you do what you need to do. I will say this though, as catty as nursing can be, sometimes you realize that either I got to get with the program or I got to go, because they have a way of trying to rule you out based off of, it's like a hazing process. It's like a pledging process to get through that first year of nursing. Some hospitals, some nurses put you through the ringer just to see if you're going to hold up. And don't let them do that to you. You know, no one should be a test dummy to see if I'm going to make you cry. Nurses will do that. They did that to me. And sometimes they will use criticism. Oh, that she can't handle criticism. That's all it is. I didn't do anything wrong. They can't just handle criticism well. And if you can't handle criticism well, that's good criticism. That is constructive. I won't say good. That is constructive criticism. You need to evaluate yourself. You are not going to be perfect. I have a lot of perfectionist students that I've had. I'm like, you're not going to be perfect. And you're going to make mistakes. But the key is to minimize those mistakes and listen to people who are noteworthy, are experts in their field, to say, okay, this is what you need to do to remedy the situation. So hopefully I have kind of dispelled or discussed what I feel that is how I deal with criticism. Again, just to kind of recap, the biggest thing is you criticize in private, you congratulate in public. If you feel like you are being criticized and being in a condescending way, they're putting you down, they're making you feel less than, they're not building you up, you need to have a conversation with that person and beyond. And then honestly, if it continues for a period of time and you feel that you're truly not happy, either grow some thick skin and get over it, or you have to move on to another hospital. That is unfortunately the advice that I have for that, because there's no middle ground to that. Either you get over it and you continue to be the great nurse that you are, or you seek employment elsewhere. But I will tell you this, if you seek employment elsewhere, you're going to have that problem or something else. There's issues at every single facility, every single one of them. Nurses are cliquish. And it's mostly women in this profession, so just know that. But that's what you need to do. You need to figure out, is it me or is it them? If it's me, if it's you, then let's work on fixing those issues. If it's them, you can't fix them. You can't make them like you. You can't make them not criticize you. You can't make them, everybody's really judgmental no matter what they say. We try not to be, but I think that's just a human flaw that we have. And sometimes it's not even about you. Sometimes it's really about them and they project it onto you. And so that is not your issue. Don't wear it. Don't own it. If they're having issues with you because you're beautiful and you're young and you just graduated and you have this, that, and the other going on in your life, and they're miserable because they're single, they're whatever, and they're older, that ain't your problem. Maybe they're miserable because the fact that they wish they were someone like you. They wish they had did what you did or doing what you're doing. I've had that happen to me before plenty of times in nursing. So anyway, hopefully this video has been helpful to some. If you all want to know more about me and my journey, there's plenty of nursing videos here. I've actually put out several videos on my DNP journey as well. I am venturing into becoming a nurse consultant, and that's a process in itself. In addition to that, I am about to launch a Facebook page, and I will keep you all posted as to when I do that. It will be, well, that's all I'm going to say about that. We'll get to that bridge when we get to it. But now that I'm finished with my doctoral degree, I have plenty of time now before I start working full-time in the fall that I can work on some other ventures that I'm excited about. I think I plan on starting to blog here soon. So I will have a website up that I'm working on as we speak. And that way I can be more available to you all and offer more sound advice and just kind of give you from the desk of or from the mind of Dr. Marita P. So anyway, if you happen to enjoy this video, please thumbs it up. Definitely subscribe, hit the bell so you'll know when the next time that I create a video. Also comment, like, and share so we can reach other nursing students or fellow nurses to find my page. The nursing world is huge on YouTube, sorry. And so therefore I find that people don't even know I exist, as I don't know other people exist as well. So definitely help me out in that situation by sharing these videos, liking and commenting and subscribing. And if you want to get in contact with me, I will leave my information below. My business email will be below if you have things that you want to, videos that you want me to do. Also, if you need a nurse mentor, again, it's not a free service, but if you need a nurse mentor, you need career coaching, you need, what else am I doing? Resume writing, writing skills, interview tips, things like that. That's what my website will be. It will have that, but and I do Zoom as well. So therefore, if you're like, okay, well, I don't live in Tennessee or I don't live close to you, how do we do that? We do it via Zoom. So which is what the world is doing right now anyway with this corona situation going on. So anyway, hit me up. I will be happy to help you. And my IG page, the version of that is, let me list it up here or here. It's in the YouTube banner up there, and it will be also listed in the box below. Until the next time, you all take care. Bye-bye.